Welcome to ENVS 3110 Land Use Management. Today's session will be an introduction to the course and the course expectations. I have a brief outline of what I will be talking about. This presentation would only take roughly between 10 to 15 minutes, and then you would be asked to proceed to the required activities for this week. So we'll have a brief introduction to the course, as well as what the e-classroom requirements would be, general course expectations, how you would be able to contact me as your lecturer, assignments, what your assignment may look like, and as well as assignment requirements. We would touch briefly on teamwork as well as your course outline and the assessment schedule. So as I've already welcomed you to Land Use Management, and there are only a few of you, but I believe you all may know each other as well, and you all are essentially Year 3 Environmental Management students. So this course is one of your program specializations. Today's session will focus really on getting to know something about what you can expect during this course, as well as for you to get to know each other in the online environment. So some of you may already know each other, but now we want to get to know each other in a different context. Now the e-classroom. As you already know, the e-classroom will be the platform through which this online course will be conducted. All your course materials, including the lectures such as what we are doing right now, will be made available to you via the e-classroom platform. You're asked to please note all upcoming events, which will be located in the top right-hand corner of your e-classroom page. A calendar should also be there as well for your information. So you're asked to please pay special attention to all upcoming events so that you do not miss anything and lose out on marks. You are also required at all times to maintain proper online etiquette, so that's what is acceptable behavior in an online environment. And today's lessons will actually facilitate building your knowledge in that area. And many of you should already be somewhat familiar with the e-classroom environment. So you are asked to know that each week's lesson will be made available on Wednesdays from 5 p.m. At times it may be available a little earlier in the day, so you can always check. But you're asked to note that you will actually have until Tuesday of the following week to complete any required activities. But you're also asked to please clearly note deadlines, which will be made very clear. Some activities may have different deadlines, but generally you'll be given until Tuesday of the following week. So this week's session, you'll be provided with material that would inform your behavior in terms of online protocols, what is required in terms of your speech, your tone, all of these things. You would be provided with a video, an etiquette video, which you would be asked to look at first, and then you would be asked to proceed to the discussion forum. All required instructions regarding the activities, not only for this week but for upcoming weeks, will be provided on e-classroom. So you're asked to take special note. Students are expected to participate in all lesson activities by the deadline indicated. So again, you're asked to pay special attention to deadlines, and please note that your participation in those activities is what would be accounting for your attendance. As already mentioned, you're asked to note deadlines for all assignments, and again, you would be reminded of this in the top right-hand corner where the calendar is provided, as well as a block for the upcoming events. Top right-hand corner of the e-classroom page. When necessary, I may be required to communicate with you via the messaging utility provided within the e-classroom environment. I'm not sure if these messages are fed to your student email any longer, So if that is not the case, you're reminded that you will be required to go into the eClassroom environment and check your page so that you can get any messages that I may have sent you. Additionally, I ask that you note that I will be available online for any urgent questions that you may have on Wednesdays between the hours of 6 to 7 p.m. I should be able, once I'm online, I should be able to answer your questions very quickly, either through messaging, or there is also the chat available. If you need to meet with me in person or to speak with me by phone, you're asked to attempt to do so during the office hours indicated on the eClassroom page. Now, those office hours on the classroom page will also, I've also provided here for you Monday, Tuesday and Thursday between 2 to 5 p.m. You are asked specifically that if you wish to meet with me in person, it is recommended that you make an appointment with me. This can be done via email or telephone. My contact information, if you need to email me, is provided here, as well as my telephone number and extension. I've already provided my office hours in the previous slide, and again, this is also indicated on the eClassroom page. Assignments. You are reminded that assignments must be submitted on time. Deadlines will be taken seriously. Late assignments will be penalized 1% for each day late or part thereof. So you are reminded that the late penalty of 1% does not refer to 1 mark, it is 1% of your total grade. For example, if the assignment is a 5% assessment, if it is 1 day late, 1% of your total grade will be deducted. You're also reminded that you must be present for all scheduled assessments, such as your midterm exam and your final exam. These exams will be conducted face-to-face. No midterm or final exam will be conducted via eClassroom. You're also reminded that any student who misses an assessment is required to bring in a medical, an employer's letter, or any other official documentation that is required to justify your absence from the assessment. That means that the documentation should contain an organizational letterhead and a stamp accordingly, and you're asked to produce this within 1 week of the missed assessment. This is required in order for you to be considered for any makeup exam. You're also reminded about the college policy regarding plagiarism. Plagiarism will not be plagiarism will not be permitted, and it will be checked. Your work will be checked for plagiarism. You're also reminded that all written assignments, we asked that you provide proper citations, and this should be done using the APA referencing system. Just to touch a little bit on teamwork, you are working in the online environment for this course this semester, but yes, you will still be required to do teamwork. It's necessary many times for us to remind you as students of the importance of teamwork, because I know this is often a component of any course that you all usually are not too enthusiastic about. But it is important. For those of you who are working out there, you already know the importance of teamwork. It's critical for us to be able to work as teams. For example, your work will be dependent on somebody else being able to complete their task and vice versa. In addition to which, there are many advantages that can be gained from a successful teamwork. In a successful group environment, this fosters creativity and learning. Many times you find that you can learn even more when you work with your peers than if you have to sit and listen to a lecture. It also provides an environment for problem solving in that creative environment. You all are now be able to work together to combine your strengths in the different areas. And it's also important, as I mentioned before, because you find each person's work is dependent on somebody else's, it's necessary for us to be able to trust each other. You each need to be able to trust each other. That means that each person needs to pull their own weight. You need to be responsible about a particular task that you have been assigned. That being said, I would like to remind you, if you have any conflicts within your group setting, please let the lecturer know at least 1 week prior to the due date. And when I say 1 week, I mean preferably more than 1 week. That would allow the lecturer to assist in resolving any conflict so that you can move forward and your mark will not be affected. So this course will actually consist of 6 units. The details of how we will address these units are provided on the scheme of work, which is available to you on the eClassroom page. The way in which this course will be conducted over the course of the semester, it would be in the form of lectures, such as what we are doing right now, as well as other online activities such as discussion forum, journals, etc. Here we have a summary of the assessments that would have been pulled from your scheme of work. First we have ranging from weeks 2 to week 15, we have many online activities that would be applied to the course. This will be worth 10% of your final grade. Week 9, which would be one of your face-to-face assessments, we are going to be doing our in-course assessment. That would be 20% of your final grade. In week 13, there will also be an individual assignment with 10% of your final grade. And of course, the group project, which will be with 20% of your final grade. You are also reminded that even though you are working in a group, do not assume that each person will receive the same mark, because as part of your evaluation, a peer review would be required. So that peer review result would be incorporated into your final mark. So you are reminded that you are expected to put your best foot forward in order to get the maximum mark for your group work. And then of course, according to the college calendar, in week 17 we would be looking to conduct our final examination, also face-to-face, at 40% of your final grade. Regarding the face-to-face assessments, your midterm and final exam, again you're reminded that you're required to be present in person. The final date for the exams are fixed. However, you may be required to attend a 2 to 5 exam at a campus location that you would be notified of. I would attempt to give you this information at least a few weeks ahead of time, but at this point you're asked to be reminded that the dates are fixed. So with that in mind, please prepare to make the necessary arrangements where necessary so that you can be present. So at this point, I would just like to thank you for your attention, and I ask you now to please proceed to the eClassroom page so that you may continue with the required activities. Thanks for your attention.